Johnny Dumbbell, what's good, fam?
Man, not too much. Still staying busy and really both jobs and keeping it going.
That's what's up, man. I can respect the hustle. All right,
Hey,
let me get started tonight and introduce myself. My name is William. Let me welcome you to my channel. It's called William the Conqueror, where I can show you how to conquer the hearts and minds of women the world over, but only if you can first conquer yourself. Johnny, go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody.
I'm JC, aka Johnny Dumbbell. I'm a personal trainer and life coach out here in Pittsburgh, PA. And so what I do is I coach men my own age as far as getting back into shape, getting in shape the first time, basically going from the couch to you know physically fit. Young men, I'll tell you all, I'm a professional screw up. I have messed up so many things in life by making the wrong decision time after time. And believe me, I can notice your behavioral pattern is going the wrong way. Come talk to me. I'll have some great stories to share with you and some great advice to give you as a result. Moral to everything.
Johnny, we always appreciate your wisdom on this panel. And I think it's especially relevant tonight because, Johnny, tonight we're talking about warning signs, red flags, how to spot them, how to avoid them, and how to, look, some of these guys have gotten themselves in some pretty bad, toxic situations. And we're going to drop some tips on things that they should do to make their situations better. So, Johnny, when we're talking about red flags, what's something that comes up on your mind? What's one of the biggest red flags?
Um, Hairdressers and girls who work in housekeeping. No, I'm
Wait a
kidding. I'm
minute.
joking.
Let me get this straight. Are you
I'm kidding. It's just
Stop the cap.
those, those are the ones that'll break your windows and flatten your tires. No, I would say things that draw attention to an already attractive woman. Like, for example, you're already ridiculously attractive, but then you got to throw in the pink hair or the green hair and make sure that you stand out even further. I mean, really, what
Bruh.
we're doing here, we're kind of we're not looking for attention. We're at this point screaming for it. Hey, I got nothing against that. Just saying, I wouldn't commit.
Johnny? I gotta say that green hair, that blue hair, not where it's at, dog. I'm not feeling it. I like my women natural, Johnny. So when they're all dyed up, it's kind of a turn off for me, and that's just a personal preference I have. you know. But I heard you mention something earlier, Johnny. You were talking specifically about what a woman does for her job being sort of a red flag for you.
No, not real. I was being sarcastic there, but I mean, I think in my experience, it has been a little bit of that, but I think more towards the housekeeper's end of it. But no, I mean, I kid.
Well, look, I know we do the Bumble breakdown, and we often come across traveling nurses, and so I know what your thoughts are on some of these ladies and their occupations. But as for me, and here's what I think is a key takeaway. It's all about what kind of standard that you as a man have set for yourself to adhere to and abide by. So if your standard is not dating a traveling nurse, then hey, salute to you, sir, for having a standard for how you live your life. I can get behind that, even if I don't necessarily agree with that, because I've had some great experiences with traveling nurses. Now,
Yeah, I
when
mean,
look, when I think of red flags, Johnny, there's different things that come up to mind are like when women try to rush into relationships. And I've heard you mention before, let the woman bring up the relationship. Like guys shouldn't be trying to lock women down into a relationship like that. Let them go, seek that out. And could you elaborate a little bit on that?
yeah. One of the big things that I tell young men, especially, is you are the one who asked the relation. You are in essence saying to her, "Well, everything that you've done so far and the way you do things is exactly what I'm looking for and exactly what I'm trying to commit. Therefore, I wish to commit." That is essentially what she hears when you are the one who asks the relationship. That means that as is, no warranty. She doesn't have to change a thing because you already know you want to commit to what you see in front of you. And if that fits your mold, gentlemen, that's great. The chances are, especially when you're young and you make these kinds of mistakes, chances are you were trying to fit her mold. And then you've decided to go for the commitment. You reach for the stars. You're aspiring to be with this beautiful woman. No, man, she's got to fit your mold. And you've got to be able to make that decision vetting her, one way or the other.
Absolutely. I agree. I see too often men try to come up with commonalities with women, and they want to find like common ground. They think that that gives them an in. And Johnny, I just think that that couldn't be so further from the truth. Why would you want to have things in common with women? They don't want to date themselves. They want an actual man in their life. So when you're looking for these commonalities, and here's the thing about women, they're really good at sniffing out when dudes are full of shit. So if you're pretending to like something just because that woman does whatever it is, she's gonna figure you out. And when
Yeah,
she does,
we
it,
all know the
it,
phrase "fake it till you make it." But that does not apply to confidence. Doesn't.
exactly.
Sorry.
Now we've went over confidence, and we got some pretty good videos on the keys to confidence on my YouTube channel. I know a lot of our live streams haven't started landing on Johnny Dumbbell's channel yet. So if everybody can watching this can do me a favor. Johnny Dumbbell's YouTube is in the bio. Show him some love and hit that subscribe button. I need my man here to start streaming on live just like me. So go to Johnny Dumbbell and hit subscribe. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
And
Yeah, guys, get
also,
me out of that under 50 subscribers stellar at the very least. All right,
show us some love and hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream. And if
or
you
show me
got
some like and hit the love button. I don't care either way.
and look, if you got any questions, that's what we're here for. So I know we're talking about red flags, warning signs, how to spot toxic behaviors, all kinds of stuff we're going to go over tonight. But this is completely unscripted for a reason. You got questions, we got answers. Give us a call, we'll put you on. We have extensive experience in all these things that you're probably struggling with, so it's all right to reach out. You can put comments in the chat. You could call in. We got you. We want you to ask questions. So now, Johnny, let's get back to red flags. And look, I know it's typically a lot of women blame this on guys. They say they're narcissistic, but I'm here to say that narcissism doesn't have a gender. It can be male or female, and you should look for signs of narcissism in the woman that you're potentially vetting to have a spot in your life, a key role. So, you know, look, if you want, Johnny, I can get into some of the things, the actual definition of narcissism, but I don't want to get too far off track. You know, there's
Well,
things that you should look for besides that too, like how aggressive the person is, if they play the victim, if there's victimization going on, or there's a lot of different abusive kind of behaviors. And what I see are guys make excuses for these behaviors in women based on their looks. Johnny, they're like, oh, she's pretty. She's a baddie. So they allow a woman to disrespect them and talk to them in a way where if they had any respect for themselves, no one would talk to them like that at all. So,
as if their sex appeal is some sort of a currency that allows them to get away with more than the average girl could.
and we
But
see that a lot.
understand that girls, no matter how good or bad looking you might think they are, still not going to let you slide on anything that you would let them slide. It doesn't work.
Hey, isn't that the truth? Women do not let you slide on shit. They will call you out on shit quick with the quickness, dog, for real.
Looks like Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians of all time. One of the things I love that he says, do this next time you're arguing with your girl. Pay attention. If she's right, she's going to argue the point. If she's going to stay on point and make sure that you stay on point. If she's got you in that corner, up against the ropes, and she got you dead to right spot, they're wrong. They can go rogue. I mean, start thinking of shit they know bothers you. Start saying things like, "Oh, all your friends," things like that. I mean, the way he describes it is absolutely hilarious. But I mean, that's kind of something you want to watch out for too. When you're arguing with her, if she's going rogue and starts, really going after your feelings, so to speak, bite your lip and just know that in that moment you've won. If there is anything to be won, and remember that particular motive in that particular instance, you're gonna have to make it there.
All right. So I got questions. All right. When you say she goes rogue, because you gotta understand something, Johnny, that really doesn't happen to me. There's gonna come a point where I remove myself from that situation before it gets to that. But I'm only able to do that because I've had years of experience of doing that. And there's
Well,
some of
that's
these
why I'm
guys
telling
that
these guys try this experiment. That's going to be what's going to teach you.
right. But removing yourself from the situation, it's a good time to pause and reflect on some of the behaviors that are happening. And we always talk about that, how important it is to reflect just not on your day, just not only on your day, but on the choices that you make, how you can improve on yourself. I want everybody watching to understand Johnny Dumbbell and myself are huge advocates of you guys becoming the best version of yourself possible. And let me tell you something, gentlemen, that is not easy to accomplish. You're not going to do it sitting back watching a YouTube channel. You're going to have to get out and face adversities and challenges and get comfortable with being uncomfortable and grow to accomplish that.
Yeah, your
So,
mind's going to go to some dark places in the process too. You're going to have to
absolutely.
trust. You're going to have to trust that's the right thing to do because now you're going to have to confront who you were in order to decide what direction you want to travel to become who you want to be, and that's gonna require some sometimes not so pleasant reflection.
Yeah, because for you to truly reflect and grow, you have to admit your own shortcomings. Because if you can't admit your shortcomings, then you're just not going to progressively get better at whatever it is you're struggling with. I don't want to say women. Some guys are naturals with women, but they struggle in other areas. Now, I know a lot of guys, Johnny, this embarrasses me to say this, they're afraid to get hurt. So they do Okay, so they want to
I think a
protect
lot of the
themselves
time that
and
I
their
think a
family.
lot of the time that translates to that ego is fragile. And
And that's
look,
what
we all
that's what
had
I
that.
was getting at
Now
is the
that
ego.
that I believe, yeah.
So, um, okay, so another big red flag. Moving on, besides overly controlling behavior, I would say is a lack of respect or trust. And and I say that from my experience
All
because
right.
when women respect you, do you know how difficult it is to get rid of them? Like I just and all right, I'm not trying to turn this into a hypergamy argument, Johnny. And I know this has the
I don't
potential
think
to
it's an
go
argument
there.
at all. I believe that you're right.
So, and a certain level of hypergamy, could be one of your red flags. Hey, to each their own when it comes to standards. I'm just
Just
saying,
how they're wired. I'm not saying it's on purpose.
okay. All right. Let's talk about a lack of emotional support. Like we as men, we have goals we want to accomplish. We have things that we need to do, a plan for our life, a direction we see ourselves going in. And when we try to find a woman to be with, I think it's really important that guys they look for women that will emotionally support them and their vision and what they want to do in the future. And I think that a lack of that support is a huge red flag because the people that are closest to you, they shouldn't break you down, Johnny. They should build you up. So I think there's a certain level of emotional trust that you need to have in a relationship. And when you don't have it, you don't have a healthy relationship. And that should definitely be a red flag.
Yeah, and that can go either way. That can either go the indifferent way, where you can go home and tell her, "Hey, I got a promotion," and she'll be like, "Oh, cool. At least we're bringing in more money." Or you could have the overly codependent one that when you say, "Hey, I got a promotion," oh, great. That means you'll be working even more. So I mean, it could go either way and still be bad.
Got a point there, Johnny. Now, look, certain red flags. I'm getting rid of a woman immediately on site. Like if alcoholism, like Johnny, I
Oh,
enjoy
absolutely. Yeah.
having a drink and I like to meet women for drinks, especially women I match with on Bumble. I'm trying to decide if I want to allow them more access to me or not. But when I'm having a drink with a woman and I see she's like really knocking them back or she's drunk all the time or that's all she wants to do is drink, that's a huge red flag to me. Like I need a woman that can do both, that can go have a drink on the weekend, but that's got her life in order enough to not let drugs or alcohol run her life.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think the life of being with an addict, and listen, I've heard a lot of really great success stories, people who have successfully beaten their addictions. I mean, hell, I beat cigarettes 15 years ago. I mean, I get it. But the thing of it is that people who, quit and never go back, fortunately, the last time I heard a low statistic, even if I didn't see a statistic at all, I personally have known too many people who have gone in and out of that cycle. And the thing of it is that you very well may be clean for the rest of your life. I'm still going to avoid that. Yeah, law of averages tells me that it's not a good idea for me to get too close involved. I'm not
now,
equipped.
Johnny, you touched on another red flag of mine back when you were talking about the promotion. You mentioned codependency, and when women can become codependent on you. Um,
Oh, trust.
Codependency in relationships, it's you need to learn
What
how to
Bill's
spot
what
the
Bill's
pattern.
using is a very nice word way of saying obsession. Yeah.
Okay, well, some people are addicted to their relationship. Okay, we were just talking about addictions, and when it comes to codependency, that's how I describe codependent. That's how it is to me, is when someone is addicted to their toxic relationship. So you absolutely should be looking for codependency issues. I get it. that especially when you co-parent, that you get put in situations where you have to rely on each other, and it can be emotionally exhausting at times, but there's a certain level of codependency you should actively be looking for and trying to avoid. And look, some TK talks about is spending time by yourself, doing things alone, really learning who you are. And I think each and every one of us as men should be doing that. We need to be spending time with ourselves. And when you do that, when you have some alone time for you and some time away from the woman, it gives her a little bit of time to miss you. You know,
Plus, I mean, I'll go a little bit then and say that sometimes being lonely is how you get to know yourself.
well, Johnny, I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of women in my life, and sometimes some women can be
Fortunate.
very passive and they want to avoid conflict at any time. Now, look, I don't like a woman that thrives on conflict and that will call me out for any little thing. But the other side of that coin is when they try to avoid conflict at any cost. You know, because in my opinion, they're trying to protect the relationship from ruin. And sometimes, Johnny, I'm a conflict person. Sometimes we gotta have some conflict. You know,
Yeah,
we
I
need
think
to
that's
talk
either
about this. We're gonna have to do something about this. This might be over. There might be some conflict here.
yeah, I feel like that happens for a couple of reasons. Like one being that she simply doesn't want to ruffle your feathers because she's been in past relationships that have been abusive or something like that. And again, in that situation, I'm probably going to pass avoid relationship with someone in that situation. Look, I'm sorry. I know it sucks to say that. Again, I'm not equipped to deal with it. I'm not equipped to unpack that kind of baggage. I'm doing her a favor by not dating. You
Right.
know, because if what she says is true, that's something I'm not capable of helping her unpack. And if what she's saying is not true, I definitely don't want anywhere. That kind of.
Now, one of the problems I've had in previous relationships, Johnny, I don't know about you, is a woman who is jealous, almost constantly jealous. And
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
cute in moderation. Yeah,
look, some guys like that. They
yeah.
want their woman to be jealous. I
And
don't.
moderation is really great as long as you can like not be psycho about it.
Like, what do you mean in moderation?
Like I mean, if you
Where
can
she's
crack
like,
a
that's
joke.
my
Like
man, or
one time when I was dating a girl, we were out to dinner, and she said, "Hey, that lady over there was checking you out." I'm like, "Oh yeah." Kind of laughed off. She goes, "Yeah, kind of want to go punch her in the head." Now I know she was joking; she would never actually do that, but I thought it was kind of funny, and she made a joke out of it, and we laughed off, and went home. That's kind of like where it's okay. She's not like threatening to stab it.
well, I've been in relationships where the women get jealous, and sometimes it's for petty reasons, but sometimes it's for a valid reason too. So that's on me to try to under, because look, you got to understand, I'm always leading. So there's times where I got to mitigate and manage a woman's feelings. Now they're entitled to feel whatever they want. They're allowed to, they're very emotional beings. So they're allowed to have their kind of feelings, but it's on me to manage and mitigate them. So
Well,
when she's constantly being jealous or even trying to gaslight me, that's on me to shut that shit down.
but see, and this is why I say that moderate amount of jealousy is good because at that point her competitive instinct is not on full blast, but her competitive instinct is at least up high enough for her to know, hey, I'm with a guy that other women want. And let's face it, like I've said many times, women don't want men that women don't want. And so, I mean, again, I'm not saying your girlfriend should have to constantly compete for your affections and your attention all the time. But what I am saying is, if she knows other women want you, she has you, she is going to do those kinds of things, especially if she wants to continue to have you. She is you won't have to ask her to do it. She'll just do it, whatever it is. She'll do those things that remind you why you stay with her. She'll do those things, remind you why you chose her. Those competitive instincts are activated, and again, I'm not saying 5 alarm, emergency where she's, at her battle station ready to kill a bitch. No, I'm saying like if they're hyped enough that she's at least aware there are other women that would want her man, and she intends on keeping him, she's going to do the things that make her in her mind marketable and sustainable with to him.
And she intends on keeping him. I think a lot of women don't
Well, I mean, if
realize
she's not
that.
1 foot on, 1 foot out the door.
Look, I think, look, as a man, you should have 1 foot out the door.
No, I'm
But
saying her. Yeah,
that's a topic for another show.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna
That's
get
totally
back
out. Yeah.
to red flags, and we're just talking about some of the red flags that we have come across in our own lives. Hey, Johnny, have you ever come across a lack of emotional intelligence?
Yeah. I've yeah, I've been the victim and the perpetrator of that one. Um, yeah, that's I think that describes a couple of my relationships, and I've been on both sides. I can't lie.
Well, there you go. This is what exactly we were talking about just a few minutes ago about self reflection about admitting your own shortcomings.
Hmm.
So, shout out to you.
Hey, you don't learn. Like you don't learn if you don't screw up, fellas. Try not to do it like we did.
hey, hey, we're gonna skip past that for now.
That's off to the guys
Um,
nowadays, though. 'Cause we didn't have social media and camera phones to immortalize. We screwed up, though.
well, look, you would think with all the phones and the texting and all of that, that communication would be a lot more open and free flowing. And what I come across with so often is a lack of social connection or friends. And I think that stems from not knowing how to openly communicate.
Brings me to
So
my next red flag. I have to say, and I might catch some flack for this, but if she doesn't have any really close girlfriends, I mean, not even, not even one.
yeah,
Now I understand a lot of look.
red
I
flag.
understand a lot of you girls hate each other. I don't understand it. You can fight that out amongst yourselves. That's not my deal. It ain't my dance. But you all have that bestie, and if this girl doesn't have a bestie, I'm gonna go ahead and actually I'm not even gonna wonder why. I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that one. Something matters.
John, what do you mean? You don't like a woman that's got just a
She
bunch of
doesn't
guy
have one
friends?
confidant. She doesn't even have one confidant that she shares mutual, sisterly trust with.
Bruh.
Did she ever have it? And if so, how did she lose it? And you know what? Never mind. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm all good on that, man.
Emotional damage.
I'm just playing with the soundboard a little bit, dog.
Bill, do I have to confiscate your soundboard?
No, no. Okay, John. Another red flag for me is love bombing. All right,
Oh
when
yeah.
women just start to shower me with excessive attention and affection right from the start. Now, John, I like women who simp for me. I like women who go hard for me. But there is a big difference between a woman who's doing a little bit of simping from me and a woman who is just giving me excessive amount of attention and affection right from the start, and like they're ready to be my girlfriend in like 2 weeks. I can't stand that, dog.
Well, and
Huge red
honestly,
flag.
not only a red but crimson flag would be when sometimes she's dropping love bombs and other times she's shooting love BB. So there's if that's a very hot, cold, inconsistent, I would try to maybe explore and figure out what may really be going on.
Yeah, I don't. Like you said, when women are hot and cold, that's a turnoff for me, man. So I guess that's a little bit of a red flag too. Now, I have learned how to cultivate a certain desire for my presence within women. So I don't really run into the cold part too much. It's usually all hot. But also,
Here,
I'm on expert level when it comes to the women that I deal with in my life. So like if I'm dealing with them, she's probably a really good fit for me in at least some form or fashion. But a lot of guys, they don't know how to do that. So I think that they really should be more selfish and they should be more picky and they should get rid of women faster for more things.
most of the guys that I talk to about, boundary setting and have you ever done this in past relationships, they said no, and I said why, and they said because I was afraid my boundaries might be a deal breaker. I said, so when she breaks the boundaries that you never told her about later on, that's going to be okay. Are you just happy to be there? You can't look that good on your arm.
And that's why I always say not to rush into a relationship and take your time and vet the woman for at least half a year. What are you in such a hurry for? I mean, you really need to find out who you're dealing with. And that's another red flag. Like I mentioned in the beginning, get in a relationship too quickly, especially where you guys put yourself in a situation where you cohabitate with that woman because you're thinking financially, well, it doesn't make sense for me to pay rent here, but always spend the night here. So, what I see guys do is actually move in with the woman without even realizing they're giving away all their power in the relationship.
And I mean, the thing of it is, remember, dude, we're talking about someone who can put you on your ass on the sidewalk on a whim if you decide.
Yeah. If they perceive that you've been disrespectful, not even that you've actually done something disrespectful, if they just perceive it as that, they could tell you to kick rocks. And then what are you going to do? You got rid of your apartment. So I don't know. I just think that another red flag, wanting to cohabitate with a woman too soon. Now, I know some guys talk about green flags. John, when it comes to green flags, that's all I'm dealing with. I'm looking. See, hey, I was really fortunate. Okay, back in 2008, I ran into this guy who was able to teach me how to gauge women's indicators of interest at a call center we worked at that was just filled to the brim with women.
Dude, filled
So,
to the brim with people. We had to share it. God.
so shout out to Johnny Dumbbell.
Glad I liked you too. That would have been that man. Terrible. Like,
So, hey, Johnny, there's only one ultimate green flag I'm looking for.
You gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
And that's my green
if
flag.
there's anybody else in that house that Bill's in right now, please confiscate his soundboard. Now, see, when I hear that, I think Captain Chaos Cannonball Run every time.
Oh, I got all kind of stuff on here, Johnny. I'm saving for some of our other shows we got planned.
Nobody better complain about my dad joke again. I have that one.
Red flags, Johnny. We're not talking soundboards. Look, I think the biggest thing guys need to do is be able to acknowledge their own needs. Some guys don't even know what their needs are.
Well, not only that, but they also are told. And listen, you got to remember, these are also guys who are being told that they should be putting everybody's needs ahead of their own. There'll be a great reward for you if you do that. Now, fellas, if you care to, put in the comments what's actually been the result when you've done it.
Fair enough.
I'd like to hear you.
I don't look, I'll tell you right now, Johnny, there's an easy way to avoid all of these red flags. And not just mismatched relationship goals and not just the ones that have gotten so toxic that you need an escape button to get out of. I'm talking as a man, you should have something called a program, right? You should have a plan for your life. You should have a plan for every woman that you allow into your life.
Never
And
mind that. Your
men,
plan should be as if there was nobody there. That means that if you decide to go ahead and add that kind of relationship, it's going to have to be somebody who's going to be able to add to your life and its journey.
my point, Johnny, is that she should be auditioning for a spot in your life. You everything that you require of her, she should be doing willingly. And at that point, what red flags do you really have when you're being a man, when you're leading the relationship, when she knows it's your way or the highway, when she respects you because you've always got every base covered? She knows she doesn't have anything to worry about. She just got to show up looking pretty, dog. That's it. So that's my way around red flags, is to have a program, is to require things from women, not just to fucking wing it. And oh, I'm just so glad she's going out with me. I just gonna buy an expensive dinner, because she's gonna spend the evening with me.
And guys, don't be afraid to have expectations of the other person in this relationship. If you do, believe me, you're not going to be the only one in that relationship. Expectation. He's going to have plenty of you too.
Well, shout out to Steve the Dean Williams at the Man Mindset. Steve has the rule of Jill Scott. I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you, Johnny. The rule of Jill Scott.
I say it like this: if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do.
So
They're not going to do what they don't want to do.
Exactly.
Nobody will.
But as long as you're always leading them, and as long as she's always following your lead, what red flags could you possibly have? So I think that's what a lot of guys, they don't know how to lead the woman. They're lucky that they feel lucky that she's even looking their way, or giving them her time. And they look for these commonalities because they think it's going to get more time with her, and they don't realize how wrong they are. They're really losing. They're on their way to the friend zone, or they're going to make themselves look creepy, or needy, or desperate at some point. They're not on a path to respect with the woman.
Right. I mean, most of the women I've known don't have very high opinions of themselves, or at least not too loftily high opinions of themselves. And so here's the thing: when a guy comes along and automatically places him on a pedestal, this girl's thinking to herself, "Look, man, mean, I think I'm okay, but I'm not that great. And this guy's like pushing all the way up here, man. What's wrong with him? He must really test, you know." And I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be either a lack of respect for him as a romantic partner. Now, this person as potential, he's going to exclude. He's already cut for the team he never even knew was trying out.
Well, look, when you should, like John, we always talk about having goals, having a plan. Sometimes these guys get with women and they have these mismatched relationship goals, and they don't understand that she's not adding any value to your life. She's not helping you get to where you want to be, not even where you need to be, where you want to be. So I think when you get in these situations where she's not supporting your goal, she doesn't have your back like that, it doesn't matter how many years you have invested with her, you need to get out of that relationship immediately.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's easier to say than to do,
sure it is.
especially when there's kids involved. But everybody that watches this, remember, Johnny Dumbbell and I are giving you advice based on the things that we've encountered in our own life. So when I'm telling you to run, brother, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, we're not telling you to do what's easy. We're telling you to do what's right. That's often not the easy.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a man until it's time to be one. So now we've talked about jealousy and distrust, but Johnny, I want to talk about a red flag that it is so big, such a neon sign, and yet guys still choose to ignore it. And that's infidelity.
Yeah.
I could never, as a standard that I have for myself, because of the respect that I have for myself, I could never be with somebody who, now, you know how I don't like to be, it takes me a while to even be monogamous with a woman. Okay. But my point is, if we get there and then there's infidelity, it's done. It's ruined. There is no fixing it. There is no second chances. And I think a lot of these guys afraid to let go. You know, they get something familiar. They get in that familiarity, the routine of a relationship, and they're like, and they believe her when she's like, I'll never do it again. And they ignore it and they continue to try to build something with somebody who essentially couldn't respect them to begin with.
Worse yet, some of these guys get gaslit into making me excuse for them.
Now, Johnny, let me ask you this. How many times have you run into a woman who is always talking about how crazy her ex was?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a red flag for me because she chose him. Like out of all the
I think
options
we're all
you
I
had,
I
this
think
was
we're all
the
entitled
dude.
to one crazy ex. If your last 2 or 3 in a row were nuts, I'd be careful.
If there's a pattern, there's a reason for the pattern. Now, Johnny, we're not going to be on all night tonight. You know, we just wanted to get on and talk about these red flags. You know, and look, okay, let's recap some of them. No friends. Okay, huge red flag. A lack of emotional intelligence. Red flag. When they want to give you all their time. Red flag to me.
More importantly, you
Gaslighting.
give them all yours.
Right. Well, okay. You shouldn't be doing that. You know, as men, we need some alone time, man. We need some downtime. We need self-reflection time. Um, and I think it's
I earned
important,
my
even in the context of being with one woman, you know, you still have to make her desire you and want you and just be so excited to see you. So you need to have some time apart from her for her to miss you.
And a lot of that comes in the form of having your own thing, your own career, your own hobby. You know, not making her the sun to your solar. You know, you don't want to be in her orbit all the time. You know, that's not she's in yours, not hers, right?
Johnny,
Have your own, you know, have your own thing to do.
I have
I
seen
mean, for the
guys.
past 10 years, I've been a personal trainer who works out 4 to 6 days a week, no matter who I'm dating. I've dated women who didn't like it. Last,
So let me ask you this. As a personal trainer, spending all the time in a gym, let's say you were to meet a woman that you found attractive, and she's like, I don't work out at all. Like it's all genetics for her and metabolism and genes, and she doesn't have to,
let's
you know
say
what I
probably
mean?
more surgery, but okay. You got to remember, I've
um,
been living in a larger city for a while now.
yeah. And you're right, Johnny. These women do have surgeries. They have breast implants. They have BBLs. They
Got
have
some of the
lip
best cosmetic
filler.
surgeons in the world. Honestly,
They get Botox. They put on fake hair and cake on makeup and do all this other stuff. Women actually go through a lot to look attractive, Johnny. I mean,
and the crazy thing of it is, they do it more for each other than us.
right? Because how many
I don't care
times
about your eyelashes.
all right. Well, because look, when you're really into a woman, you wake up next to her first thing in the morning, and you're like, damn, I would just smash her face to face right now. You're just,
Yeah, man. Like I just washed these sheets. You ain't wearing your makeup in bed.
I'm just saying though, like I know women like to doll themselves up and they like to put on all the makeup, because they've been conditioned through advertising to think they need all that. And hey, Johnny, look, I could care less if a purse, a pair of shoes or some makeup makes that woman feel happy. We always talk about we shouldn't be the ones making her happy. She should make herself happy. It's our job to make her feel special. So, if she needs to get makeup to make herself happy, then I'm all for it. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like if she knows that other women want you and you chose her, that's pretty special. But yeah, you got to do.
Now, Johnny, one of my biggest personal red flags is when women gatekeep the pussy. I can't fuck
What?
with them, Johnny. When they gatekeep the pussy, when they're the
Oh
gatekeepers of
yes, yeah,
sex
yeah.
and they're not giving you what you
Intimacy
need
strike.
for your mental health, be but you want to speak on this a little bit, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the kind of thing that happens when you don't set boundaries at the very beginning. Uh, Over time, you stop leading a relationship, and believe me when I tell you, if she's withholding on purpose because she believes you either can't and or you won't get it anywhere else, and it usually centers around her believing you. And the thing of it is that this is where she is going to kind of subconsciously try to force you into engaging in that scarcity mentality. That whole, well, I better hold on to this one. She walked away. I don't know if I'll ever find anybody else. That is exactly what Rihanna's thinking about when she wants you to make her feel like she's the only girl in the world, right? That is the kind of girl that sings that into her hairbrush every morning while she gets ready for work. Well, if she goes to work. So this is the kind of thing you've got to be able to keep your eye on. This is the kind of thing you've got to look for. These are the cues. They're verbally and nonverbal. When you see these things happening, guys, stop, take that breath, and ask yourself, could she possibly have a motive other than what she's stating for the way she's acting, saying, doing?
Well, Johnny, I got to tell you, I think a lot of women have motives. And here's how I can tell.
It depends on
Johnny,
whether or not it's in line with what you.
if a woman looks at me one time, I know that she's noticed me. If she looks at me twice, I know she likes what she sees. Johnny, if I catch her checking me out a third time, I know for a fact she's got
Training order.
motives. Motives. She got a plan. She's scheming, she's plotting, there's something she's up to. She got a plan for me. Some
Yeah,
women
I
look at me,
mean,
Johnny, and they're just like, need that. Need that. So,
yeah, I mean,
I,
and
I
that's
know
part
how
of
to
the
deal with that.
nonverbal communication. Those kinds of body language things.
Right. And look, that nonverbal communication, Johnny, I wish you would put a course together about that because a lot of guys are oblivious to that. Like, I'm telling you, Johnny, I could mac on women in other language, speak other languages, and I would be able to express myself fully without Google Translator or anything, you know.
Years ago, I dated a girl from the Netherlands. She was here in the U.S., of course. So there was this girl that was in town. She was also from Europe. She was from France. Dude, the three of us were walking around one time, and I was talking about watching the Monday night football game. And the girl that I was dating was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I might just go to bed." Right in front of her, the French girl goes, "Well, I can come watch it with you." I watched her face go from here to. And I mean, it was crazy because I'm thinking to myself, back then I was young and naive. I was 21 years old. I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, why would she say that in front of a girl that she's friends with? And then years later, it's like, wow, somebody was looking for a reaction.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, I think guys should keep in mind that our list of red flags, that's not all of them. Because ultimately it's up to you as a man to decide to what your standards should be. And some of it, Johnny's kind of trusting your gut too when it comes to women. Not
But
just, you know, the point that I'm trying to make here is that it's up to you to establish a set of standards that you need to live your life by. Those standards should be based on things like your morals, your principles. Now, when you come across women who are exhibiting behaviors that are against these standards that you have formed and forged for yourself through painstaking processes, you need to get rid of them. And once you get to the point, gentlemen, where you actually start to develop standards for your life, it's going to be a no-brainer. You're not going to need your uncles, the three wise men, telling you to get rid of them. You're going to learn that for yourself, that you're wasting your time. Gentlemen, we want you to understand that your time is the most it's the greatest resource that you have. And I don't care if you're 22 years old, you shouldn't waste a minute of your time, especially doing something that you don't want to do with somebody that you can't even tell really likes you. So
And look,
we want you to have respect for yourself. We want you to look at any red flag as a deal breaker and move on, because we can tell you from our extensive experience with women, you can find women that are into exactly what you are, that will respect you, and that will do everything you need them to do. You need to know how to look for them. So,
yeah, I
and
mean,
that's
it's
what we're here
really,
for.
yeah, it's really easy to be manipulated by peace leaves, so to speak. One thing I want you guys to remember, and we understand that this is going to be a struggle for you, for a lot of you guys. Remember this: you've seen on the news people getting caught in scandals that involve, you know, fair sex. You find people involved in scandals, even consensual situations can still be scandalous. You run into men who are in Congress, men who have made the right decisions their entire life, um, high-profile athletes, high-profile lawyers. All these guys have made all the right choices to become, top of their field of whatever it is that they've done. And the one thing that brings them down is one thing that men from all walks of life, all levels of social status can agree or we so we know this. So what we got to do is we got to plan ahead. We got to be able to prepare our mentors for being able to remind ourselves that 20 minutes of probably not that great a sex is not worth risking your entire future, considering what possible ramifications might come with it. This is why we're showing you red flags. We're not saying don't go out there and have fun. We're saying that these are the things you're going to want to avoid, because if you don't, you consistently run right to them, they're going to lead you right to your own shallow grave.
Well said, Johnny.
Figuratively.
Before we wrap this up tonight, I just want to talk about one last thing. Again, self love. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Do that by establishing standards. And when you come across somebody who is doing something against your standards, get rid. It doesn't have to be just a woman. You guys could have friends that are dragging you down, that are losers, that are bums, that are just going to get you in trouble, cost you money, and cause you nothing but problems. You need to cut them loose too. You need to spend more time looking out for yourself. Numero uno, because nobody is going to love you the way you do. I'm here to tell you, the only true love that exists is the love that you should have for yourself. And without that, you're lost. Really are. So look,
Yeah. That'll
John,
free each other. Sure.
both Johnny Dumbbell and myself are here for you guys. If you have questions, if you're having trouble, if you just need us to point you in the right direction, or give you just a little bit of quick little game for whatever you got going on, you can reach out to us. We want to see all you men do better with your life, and that's what we're here for. Look, we're the three
Yeah.
wise men, and we're here when you need us. Johnny, you got anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
I do. Gentlemen of all ages, I want to issue you a challenge. Try this just one time. When you get up in the morning and you're just about to head out the door, do whatever you got to do. And if it doesn't give you momentum to get you at least through the first half of your day, then hey, I'm stupid, right? But what I want you to do is I want you to, whether it's on your phone or you got it in your headphones, whatever, play the kind of song that gets you motivated to go for a run. Play the kind of music that you can see yourself doing a WWE ring walk. and then stand in the mirror and give yourself a pep about how you're going to get through this day. And when you do, I want you to involve certain parts of your action plan. Take 30 seconds, maybe 60. That's all you need. Stand in that mirror with your motivational song playing in the background, your ring walk, whatever you want to call it. Give yourself that little bit of pep. You know you're going to be alive at the end of the day, most likely anyway. Let's see if you can still, I want you to be happier than you were when you woke up.
Well said,
Give it a
Johnny.
shot.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Three Wise Men. How to spot warning flags and warning signs and red flags. And we're going to be back Monday night with another show for you. It won't be a dating show. We'll probably do a Bumble show next Thursday. And Johnny, I got something special that I've been working on that I'm going to do next Friday night with the lovely Christina Lynn. I'm going to do an episode called Talking Dirty, where we're talking about everything from how to flirt to how to fuck and everything in between, Johnny. It's going to be great. I'm probably going to get myself banned on YouTube. Definitely adults.
The great ones
18 and
always
over.
do.
But hey, we're going to have it, man. Talking Dirty with Christina. All right. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching. Johnny Dumbbell, thank you for your time. We're out here trying to change lives. And hey, you guys got any questions, man? Reach out to us. We got you. We're out, and we'll be back Monday night.